Hey everybody, welcome to the replay. Tonight we'll be making another standard size card, 5.5 by 4.25. But before we get started, let me just show you, this is our current idea book. It's good through the end of the month. Before everything will go, whatever inventory is left goes online and you can only order online. But meanwhile, if you want to order, you can order from my website at claudia.ctmh.com. Or you can order directly with me. You can also see all of the items online, including the catalog, or shoot me a note and I will send you the link to see the catalog online. Excuse me. Okay, so let me put that aside. I wanted to show y'all a couple of techniques tonight. We will be using the Perk Up stamp set and thin cuts. Let me show you what the thin cuts look like. This is the thin cut, and it's going to cut out the cup and the lid, just like you see right here. Here's the cup and here's the lid. We'll be doing some stamping, and then I'm going to show you some embossing as well. So let's get started with the cutting. I always cut first before I stamp, and different people do it different ways. But this is my Cuttlebug, and here's my plates. And I will be using just a scrap of this Colonial White paper. Here, let me show you how I set it up first, and then we'll put it through the machine. So on the dies, they come on a magnetic sheet. You see, they don't fall off. And one side has the blade on it, and the other side is flat. So we're going to put the blade side down on the paper. And then when it goes through the die cutting machine, of course, that blade will press down on the paper and cut it out. Easy enough to understand. If you've ever worked at the school, I think they have die cutting machines that, since we were little kids. And so then you just put the plates in and run it through. You hear that clicking, that's where it's cutting. Then you'll see, just pops right out. Perfect cuts. Perfect cuts. So that's all the cutting we're gonna do. I'll set all of this aside. And now, let me show you, we'll do some stamping. I'm using the Espresso ink pad. And let's see here. Stamp our cup outline. So, let's put it on our block. Ink it up. And we'll just, sometimes I don't get enough ink on there. Just stamp that on our cup. Same thing for our lid. Oops. Ink that up. And then just line it up. Stamp it down. You'll see there that makes our cup and lid combo. Now for the cup sleeve, we've got this little cross-check pattern. I'm going to stamp it in the brown and the espresso. I haven't not really going to change up colors much on this card, but just kind of see where you want to place that sleeve. Stamp it on. Now you've got your cup. This is where we're going to do some embossing. So here I've got gold embossing powder. I've got my Versamark watermark stamp pad, and the ink is actually clear, but it's embossing ink. And I'm gonna use this little heart and just ink up your stamp. And I'm gonna put it right in the middle. And then I'm gonna pour just a little bit of embossing powder over the top of that. Dump it back off. I should be using a tray, but I got a little lazy on now. So you put that back, and you can see how there's a heart in there that's gold. So pardon the noise if you've got your volume on loud or headphones, but using a heat tool, we're going to emboss that and watch it turn gold. So let me think so I don't dump over. And just watch it change. Oh, you know what, guys? Wow. So you'd think I've done this long enough, I should know better, but you see how there's more gold there than just that stamped heart. The reason that happens is because my brown ink was still a little bit wet, that it picked up that powder. So let's try it again. I'm gonna need some cardstock. I'm just gonna cut a little bit, and we'll cut it all again. Let's see, this is how we learn. Little mistakes that'll come on. It's really not. There we go. Okay. So, first we're gonna stamp the cup. And then the sleeve. There we go. Now, let's dry the sleeve before we add any more embossing powder to it. Okay, here we go. Should be nice and dry. Now, let's emboss. Using embossing ink, we'll stamp that heart again. Add some more embossing powder and dump it back in the cup. Okay, so now, even though there's a little bit of powder residue around the heart, because there's no ink for it to stick to, it should not, I say should, it should not stick just where there was embossing ink. Yes? No? You can see, oh, let me put it in the camera. You can see the gold star there. I still do have a little bit of residue, but you know what? I can live with it. I like it. Okay, so now, what is a coffee cup without some coffee residue spilled, right? That always happens. Here we've got a little ring to look like the coffee's just kind of spilled over, made some stains. I'm just gonna random stamp. And that's all I'm gonna need. So here's my card pieces. I have an 8.5 by 5.5 card base, folded in half for a standard size card. This time we're gonna turn it and make it vertical and horizontal instead of a vertical card. I've got my espresso cardstock that I'm going to use as a background, and it's cut to 5.25 by 4. And then I have some scrap pieces from the Yesterday and Today kit that is in the March-April catalog. So these are just some pieces from it. And I'll lay that down here and I'll give it a little bit of a margin. And then this piece I'm gonna layer up here, and then I'll put this piece in the middle. So give it just about the same amount of margin all the way around. And this will go in the middle, overlapping. Now, just for a little bit of ribbon, I'm gonna take some of this, I don't know, kind of rough looking woven ribbon, and I'm gonna place it at the top and the bottom. And I generally just make a strip on the paper of the glue and put my ribbon so that it sticks directly to it. And then using my scissors, you know what? It's okay if it kind of hangs off the edge. Here we go. And I'll do a strip down here. That edge off. Now we're going to put our cup right about here. Where's our lid? As well as the lid. You know what? Let me go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of that lid, and I can go ahead and add it onto the cup. There we go. I'm going to use some foam tape to pop that up. Oh, perfect. Oh, but you know what? Let's stamp our sentiment before we do that. And see here. Our sentiment says, perk up. Just stamp that right in the middle of our middle section. This is the part that gets me because I don't have any nails. But stick our cup on there, and that's our finished card. It's blank on the inside. You can add a sentiment or just write whatever you want in there. That's all. just a few scraps of paper, a little stamping. You can forego the embossing if you want, or use a colored embossing ink or colored ink. And just dress this up however you like, or keep it simple and keep it monochromatic, and I think it looks great. So thanks everybody for joining me tonight. I hope to do a card every night for my 100 days project. Tonight was night 3. So I really appreciate y'all being here. Thank you and good night. We'll see you tomorrow.